Hello, in today's video, we will learn how to manage leaves, leave balances and leave policies in Runtime HRMS. So before we get into leave policies, let's quickly go to setup and I want to show you leave types. So here we have defined certain leave types like sick leave, unpaid leave, earned leave, and some of them are configured as paid leave, some of them are configured as track balance. So just quickly to understand, the track balance means that a leave is granted and the balance is added into the employee's account, and then when the employee takes a leave, the balance is deducted from their account. So they can see what leave balance is available in their account at any time using the mobile application or the ESS portal. Wherever you have turned on the track balance, we have options to automatically grant and lapse leaves where this track balance is enabled. So to configure leave policies for automatic grant and lapse, what we will do is we will go back to setup and then we will go to leave policies. Now over here, I have two different leave policies. So let's delete these and let's create another one. Okay, so I'll create a new policy for earned leaves. So I have mentioned that this is a earned leave policy for managers. So you can have multiple policies for same leave type for different people in the organization. So suppose managers get leave in a different way, and then the supervisors get leave in a different way, or the executives get in a different way. So the number of leaves and grant and leaves rules can be changed, and then you can assign the leave policies to the employees. Now we will select that this policy is for earned leave, and then we have two options, lapse leaves and grant leaves. So first look at grant leaves. So in grant leaves, we will select that if presents are more than or if paid days are more than. What it means is that the automatic granting system will work on a monthly basis only if this condition is met. So suppose I select if presents are more than 15, then for all the 12 months of the year, I have these text boxes where I can put the number of leaves to be granted. Now this condition will only hit when you run the payroll for that month, and it will consider the month on for which you are running the payroll, and it will consider the number of days you specify here to grant to that employee. Now suppose I want to grant 1.5 leaves every month to on all the 12 months, so I can simply copy this to all the months and it becomes 1.5 on all the months. And if I save it, then wherever the employee has more than 15 days present in the month, then they will get 1.5 leaves. Now the second option is if paid days are more than 15. So in this case, if the employee is present for let's say 10 days, and then there are 4 weekly offs, and then there is one holiday. So combining all these three things, these are paid days, and the employee is present for more than 15 paid days, including the presents, holidays and weekly off, then also this policy will apply. So depending on your company, you can select whether the leave should be granted on presents or on paid days. Now let's quickly see these two options. So do not earn during probation period. It means that if an employee has joined, say for example on 1st of January, and their confirmation date is let's say 1st of April, so they have got a 3-month of probation period. So if that is the case and you tick over here, then the employees who have not completed the probation or their confirmation date has not passed, they will not earn the leaves as per this policy. And if you untick it, then everybody will earn the leaves. Now this one is reset negative balance before grant. So this option means that suppose an employee has been allowed leave over and above their available balance, either you applied the leave manually through HR portal or through an exception, they were given leaves more than their balance. So let's say they have 2 leaves balance at end of a month, and then in next month they took 3 leaves. So the balance becomes -1, negative balance. So if you check this option, what will happen is in the next month when the payroll runs and when this grant policy is applied, then first that -1 will be resetted to 0. So the employee balance will first become 0, and then this leave balance will be granted to the employee in that month. If you do not take this, then what will happen is the -1 will stay there, and then the employee will get another 1.5. So the balance will become 0.5 because there is already -1 there. So again, depending on your policy, you can select either of these options, and we have added some explanation over here also, which you can refer to whenever you want to over here also. Now this is about the grant policy. Suppose the grant works only on a quarterly basis. So in that case, what you can do is you can make it 0 for the 2 months, and then maybe you grant 3 leaves every quarter. So March, June, September and December. So in that case, you can do it like this. So in this case, the grant will work only in the months of March, June, September and December, and the employee will get 3 leaves. So you can configure it as per your requirement, and this is completely flexible. So you may have a 6-month grant policy. You can also have an annual grant policy. So if you want to make it 0 for the entire year, and you just want to grant the leaves in the month of December, or maybe let's say in the month of January you want to grant 12 leaves, and then during the entire year there is no grant. So in the month of January, the employee will get 12 leaves, and they can take this, they can avail this throughout the year. So you can configure it as per your company policy. Now let's move on to the lapse leave. So in the lapse leave, the way it works is similar to the grant, but there is a difference that lapse balance of leaves above this balance. It means that in the month of January, let's say for example, if you put over here 2, then what it means is in the month of January when the payroll is run, then if the balance of leave for an employee is more than 2, above 2, then that balance will be lapsed. So for example, if the employee has 5 leaves and you have put in 2 over here, then balance above 2 is 3. So out of 5, 3 leaves will be lapsed and the employee will be left with the balance of 2. So that is how the lapse works. Again, you can have a lapse every month, or if you want to lapse the leaves only in 1 month of the year, you can also do that. So that is straightforward for the lapse leave. Now there is one challenge that comes sometimes, that suppose the lapse is done only in 1 month of the year. So suppose you want to lapse all the leaves above 0, which means everything will be lapsed in the month of December, but you do not want to lapse anything over here. So suppose you put it like this. I'll just explain. Suppose you put it like this, then the lapse will work on every month. So every month the balance of leaves will be lapsed, January, February, March, April. But you do not want that. You just want that the balance above 0 should be lapsed in the month of December, or maybe balance above 5 should be lapsed in the month of December, and no lapse should happen in any other month. So in that case, what you need to do is you should not keep it at 0, you should keep it at 999, a higher number, so that even if the balance of employee the balance of leaves of the employee is, let's say 10, 15, 20, 100, whatever there is, we will put a higher number so that the lapse will never hit in these months, and only in the month of December the balance above 5 will be lapsed. So the balance above 999 will never happen. So that's why these all 11 months will not get a lapse, but only December will get a lapse. So that is how the lapse and grant work. Now there is one more thing over here, auto apply. So what it means is basically, let's say the employee has got a leave balance of 3 leaves, and in the month they have taken 4 days they were absent. So there are 2 ways to handle this situation. So one is we ask the employee to submit a leave request for the 3 days that they have the leave balance, and for the 4th day where they are absent, they do not have a balance. So either it will be unpaid leave or it will be an absent, which will result in the loss of pay. But in certain companies, what happens is you do not want employees to apply for the leaves if they have a balance in their account. So you want to auto apply their leaves if they have a balance. So in such cases, you can put a number over here. Let's say you want that if the employee was absent for 5 days and they have a balance of 5 leaves, then apply it by replacing the absence with the leave type. So that is one case. Now suppose the employee is absent for 10 days and the balance is only 5 in their account, then this auto apply will work for only 5 days, right? That is second case. Now third case is, let's say the employee was absent for 5 days and the balance of leave is above 5, even if the balance is 10 or 15, then only 5 days will be applied. So the auto apply will stop after it has replaced 5 absents with the this particular leave type. So this is how the auto apply works. So it saves time by skipping the leave application from the employee and the approval from the manager or the HR manager. So in case your company has such a policy where you do not want employees to submit leave requests if they have a balance, then you can configure this option. So this is how you can configure a particular leave type for a particular leave and then save it. Now we have got this policy for earned leaves for managers. Now what happens is, suppose this earned leave, the managers are allowed to get 12 leaves in the month of January, but there are other people in the organization, or you can say junior people in the organization, who are only allowed 6 leaves in the year, same earned leave. So in that case you can create another policy for the same leave type. So we can say leave policy for juniors, and again we will select earned leave, and then we will say 6 leaves in the month of January and no further grant, and let's say presents are more than 15, same thing, and then we are not lapsing or auto applying, just that grant leaves. So we have created two different type of leaves for the same leave type, which is earned leave. We have created two different policies, what I mean to say. Now once these policies are created, let's see how we can apply these policies to the employee profile, so that when you run the payroll, then these policies will apply to them. So for that, you go to all employees, you can open any particular employee record, and you go to this policies section. So over here in the policies section, you have a shift policy, week off policy, which we have seen in the past. Now this leave policy, how it works is, you will get to see all the leave policies that you have defined in the system, and then you can select which policy should apply to this employee. Now let's say this is a manager, so I'll simply select earned leave for managers. So they will get 12 leaves in the month of January. Now let's say there is another employee, let's say this employee, and this is a junior employee, so I'll select the earned leaves for junior. So what will happen is, when the payroll is run, the employee who has given the manager leave type will earn 12 leaves in the month of January, and the employee who has got this junior policy, they will earn 6 leaves in the January. So same leave type, earned leave, will be accrued differently for different employees. So this is how you can configure the leave policies. Now there are 2-3 different things that we need to understand just before we wrap this up. First is that if leave lapse and leave grant both are enabled, leaves are first lapsed and then granted. So this is an important point. So let's understand this one again. We have enabled leave lapse, we have also enabled leave grant. Now let's say in the month of January, this is how we have configured the system. I'll just create a case to explain the situation. So what we have done is, in the month of January, we want to lapse, let me put it. So in this case, we want that in the month of January, any balance above 5 should be lapsed, and in the month of January, a balance of 12 should be granted. So both these conditions will hit in the month of January. Now what will happen is, if suppose the employee has a balance, suppose they have got a balance of 10 in the month of January. So first the lapse will work. So balance above 5. So if the employee has a balance of 10, then 5 leaves will be lapsed, 5 leave will remain in their account, and then the grant rule will apply. So they will get 12 leaves. So now how much their balance will be? 12 plus 5, which will be 17. So this is how this works. So suppose let me put some different number over here. Suppose this is 3 and the employee has got a balance of 10. So the balance above 3 will lapse. So 7 leaves will be lapsed and the employee will be left with 3 leaves. And then the grant will work. So employee will be granted 12 leaves. So 12 plus 3, the employee will then have 15 leave balance at end of January when the payroll for January runs. So the leave, lapse, grant, everything happens at the end of the month when you run the payroll, right? So if you want the leaves to be granted at the beginning of the year, you should grant it in the month of December, because when you run the payroll on 31st of December, like after 31st of December, the grant will work and the employee will have the balance in their account on 1st of January. If you do the grant in the month of January, the balance will be earned at end of January when you run the payroll for January on 31st of January. So this is how you should configure. Now the second point is, auto apply if enabled runs at very end after lapse and grant. It may consume leftover balance after current month grant. So basically auto apply, when you enable auto apply, this option 5, what it will do is it will run at the end. So first leaves will be lapsed, then leaves will be granted, then whatever balance is left, if there is anything, then it will be used for auto application to convert the absents into leaves. So suppose there is a grant happening because of the grant leaves, and then auto apply is also happening. So it is possible that suppose you have given 12 leaves in the grant and you have done auto apply for 5 days. So it is possible that if the employee is absent for more than 5 days in January, then all those 5 days will be replaced with the this particular earned leave, and then the balance will be consumed within that month. So 12 will be granted and 5 will be auto applied. So the employee will be left with 7 balance in the at end of the month when this auto apply works. So this is the sequence how it works. So first lapse happens, then grant happens, then auto apply happens. Now I've already covered that if leave lapse is required only for certain months, keep 999 in other months to avoid the lapse, because we are putting a higher number, so the balance never goes above that. If your payroll periods are not calendar months, the end date of the period will be considered to determine the month. So this is also important, but this is applicable for certain cases where the payroll periods are not like 1st to 30, 1st to 31st. So in some companies, the payroll period starts from 16th of the month and ends on 15th of the next month, or it starts from 25 of the month and ends on 24th of the next month. So in all those cases where periods are non-standard, what happens is the end date of the period will be considered to determine the month. So we have given an example over here. If your payroll period is 15 Jan to 14 February, system will consider it as February, right? So end date is falling in February. So whatever number you define over here and over here, that will be considered for this period, which starts from 15 January and ends on 14 February. The system will consider the it as a February month based on the last date of the month. So you should define these policies accordingly if your months are not standard calendar months. So that is how the leave grant and lapse works using this new policies. And then you can have multiple policies allocated to one person. So suppose you apply two different policies to an employee, earned leave for manager and earned leave for junior. So in this case, what usually that is not how it works, but if you do that, then both manager and junior policy will apply to this employee. So they will get a lapse and grant happen as per both the policies, right? So you should not select these type of combinations, because they may result in some unexpected results, because obviously you do not want to grant two type for the same leave, and you do not want to lapse with two methods of the same leave. So you should create separate policies for separate level of employees and allocate the policies to them according to that. So that is all we wanted to cover in leave policy section. I hope this video will help you understand how the leave policies works, and thank you for watching.